Hey everybody, Jamie here, and today I'm making pine needle tea. I wanted to share this with you because I think it's a really great way to be able to connect with the eastern white pine. In fact, in my case, that's the tree that I'm using for this tea. And it grows natively in the region I live in, which is upstate New York. And pine needle tea, the reason why I'm excited to share it is because it's an awesome source of vitamin C, vitamin A, antioxidants, and other really great medicinal benefits it can provide. So, well, first, to identify the eastern white pine, this is what a branch looks like here. Really long, thin needles, nice and soft. And if you look closely at them, the needles themselves will grow in groups of 5. So there's 5 needles right here, and they grow in these groups of 5. They're called fascicles, those little packets they're held in. And that's one way that you can identify. Another way is through a pine cone, long and slender, about 4 to 6 inches long. But when identifying any plant or tree that you're going to use medicinally or as a food, just make sure you can 100% identify that, or you're with somebody who can. So like I said, an incredible source of vitamin C. We're going into fall. It's October right now. We are also in a pandemic. There's stress coming up for this election. We got to just be on our game with our immune systems. So pine needle tea having more vitamin C than an orange, and it's local, it's native. This is something that is pretty accessible. And so just to coming into more relationship with something like this, it's kind of empowering, at least in my experience, where I know if need be, if for some reason oranges are wiped off the earth, or the shipping of getting oranges and all the logistics is totally messed up for a period of time, globalization is no longer a thing, there are ways to get certain vitamins that we need from a local source. In fact, if you're not a big fan of globalization when it comes to centralized food systems, this is also a really a great thing to be able to integrate into our diets. So I do have some pine needles steeping in this hot water right here, just for sake of time. And what I did to make this tea, super simple. Which I brought water to a boil, and I probably brought 2 cups to a boil, and I'd say I used about a cup of pine needles in those 2 cups. You can play around with that. So these pine needles themselves, they have these really great essential oils in them. Another thing I like to do with pine is just break up some needles and smell them. And it smells absolutely amazing. That's something nice to do in the woods whenever you're there. But I do a similar process when making this tea, where I'm breaking up these needles about a quarter of the size as they were before breaking them up. So you can cut them, and what that does, it exposes more surface area on those needles, and also breaks up those oils too, so when they get in the water, they're going to be able to release more of those nutrients at a better rate. So I've got this here, it's just about done. So again, bringing water to a boil, but I don't like to boil the needles in there because that can actually kill off the vitamin C, the really essential nutrients for why we're making this. So when it comes to a boil, turning the flame off, or taking the pot off the flame and letting that steep for about 10 minutes here. So this is about done. I'm gonna pour some in my mug. All right. A couple pine needles slipped through, but that's okay. So cheers, let's taste it. It's really nice. It's really nice. It's very, very clear. Not a huge, overwhelming taste of pine. It's very subtle, and I'm sure I could play with that too by adding more needles. But it's warming my insides right now, and it has just a little flavor of pine. If you ever smelled that, it's kind of like the wood itself of pine, just a little. And you can even add a tea bag to that, or some honey, whatever you like to do with your tea. I like it straight up like this. So it's really nice. I hope that is helpful for you, and hope you enjoy some pine needle tea.